The change happens quietly. There is no announcement, no physical sensation, no visible sign that anything is different. People simply stop lying, not because they choose to, not because they become more moral. They are physically incapable of saying anything untrue. At first, no one realizes what has happened. Conversations continue as usual until the first moment of friction appears. Someone asks a simple question, "How are you?" And instead of the automatic response, the mouth says, "I feel exhausted, angry, and I don't enjoy this conversation." Silence follows. Confusion spreads quickly. Within minutes, people begin to notice something is wrong. Attempts to soften words fail. Evasions do not work. Even silence becomes suspicious because the moment someone tries to lie, the words simply will not come out. The truth replaces them, raw and unfiltered. White lies disappear first. No more polite compliments. No more social smoothing. No more harmless deception. Every statement becomes brutally honest. Workplaces collapse within hours. Managers cannot hide dissatisfaction. Employees cannot pretend to care. Performance reviews turn into verbal detonations. Projects dissolve as people openly admit incompetence, boredom, resentment, or fear. Corporate language evaporates instantly. Meetings become unbearable. Politics implodes even faster. Press conferences turn into disasters. Politicians answer questions truthfully, not strategically, not carefully, but honestly. Corruption is exposed in real time. Hidden motives surface without resistance. Alliances crumble as leaders admit what they really think of each other. Governments fall within days. Diplomacy becomes impossible. Nations can no longer disguise intentions. Threats are spoken plainly. Trust evaporates. Some conflicts de-escalate because deception is gone. Others explode because long-hidden hostilities are finally spoken aloud. Relationships suffer the most immediate damage. Couples ask questions they were never meant to ask. Do you still love me? Are you attracted to me? Do you regret marrying me? The answers come honest, precise, and devastating. Divorces spike. Friendships shatter. Families fracture as decades of buried resentment surface in a matter of hours. There is no cushioning language left. Emotional damage spreads faster than any physical disease. Children are affected differently. They already struggled with lying. Now they become brutally transparent. Classrooms turn chaotic as students speak every thought aloud. Teachers lose authority as respect collapses under honest opinion. Mental health crises surge. People are not prepared to hear constant truth, from others or from themselves. Inner thoughts spill outward without filter. Shame, jealousy, hatred, fear, all become public. Social anxiety explodes. Depression deepens. The legal system freezes. Witnesses cannot lie, but neither can suspects, lawyers, or judges.
Confession pour out incontrôlably.
But context is lost. Truth without structure becomes chaos. Justice systems stall as courts drown in uncontrollable honesty. Media transforms overnight. Journalists can no longer frame narratives. They report exactly what they know and admit what they do not. Bias becomes visible. Trust in media paradoxically both rises and collapses at the same time. Religion and philosophy fracture. Some see the change as divine judgment. Others see it as liberation. Confession becomes involuntary. Faith leaders cannot hide doubt. Congregations fall apart as certainty dissolves. Economies tremble.
Marketing dies instantly.
Advertising becomes meaningless. Products are described honestly, flaws and all. Consumption collapses as illusions disappear. Entire industries built on persuasion fail within days. Language itself begins to change. People stop asking questions they fear the answers to. Conversations become shorter. Silence becomes safer than speech. Society grows tense, brittle, and emotionally dangerous. And amid the chaos, one terrifying realization emerges. Lies were not just tools of manipulation. They were social glue. They softened reality. They protected fragile minds. Without them, humanity is suddenly exposed to itself. without armor, without filters, without mercy. This is only the beginning of what happens when humans lose the ability to lie. As days turn into weeks, humanity begins to understand that the loss of lying is not a temporary shock, but a permanent transformation of consciousness and society. The initial chaos fades, replaced by something quieter and far more dangerous. Society does not become more honest. It becomes more fragile. People learn quickly that truth, when unfiltered, is a weapon. Conversations shrink. Small talk disappears almost entirely. Questions become rare because every question now carries risk. Asking means being ready to hear the answer. Raw, precise, and often cruel. Silence spreads through public spaces. Cities feel tense, brittle, emotionally charged. Social interaction becomes exhausting. People avoid eye contact, avoid dialogue, avoid connection. The mental cost of constant honesty is too high. Every interaction risks humiliation, rejection, or emotional injury. Loneliness spreads, not because people want isolation, but because connection becomes unbearable. Relationships that survive do so by changing completely. Couples stop pretending. Some grow closer through radical transparency, rebuilding trust on brutal truth. Most do not. Love becomes conditional and explicit. Attraction fades quickly when fantasies collapse. Marriage becomes rare. Parenthood becomes hesitant, as people fear what unfiltered truth will do to children. Families fracture into emotional distance. People still love each other, but cannot soften disappointment, regret, or resentment. Holidays become painful. Conversations end early. Long relationships become quiet, not warm. Mental health reaches a breaking point. Without the ability to lie, people cannot hide fear, shame, or intrusive thoughts. Therapy becomes impossible in its traditional form. Therapists cannot reassure, encourage, or comfort unless it is strictly true. Placebos fail. Hope becomes difficult to sustain. Suicide rates rise, not explosively but steadily. Truth strips away coping mechanisms. Many people were held together by small illusions about their value, their future, their relationships. Without those illusions, some minds simply collapse. Culture transforms radically. Art loses metaphor. Music becomes literal. Stories become confessions rather than narratives. Fiction struggles to exist when authors cannot invent emotions or motivations they do not genuinely feel. Creativity narrows, becoming intensely personal but less universal. Comedy disappears almost entirely. Humor relied heavily on exaggeration, irony, and deception. Without lies, jokes fall flat or become cruel. Laughter becomes rare and uncomfortable. Economies restructure slowly. While marketing and persuasion are dead, some industries stabilize around radical transparency. Products are simple, durable, and honestly described. Innovation slows, but trust in what remains increases. Consumption drops sharply. Minimalism becomes necessity, not philosophy. Politics evolves painfully. Populism collapses. Manipulation is impossible. Leaders who remain are those capable of surviving under constant exposure. Governance becomes blunt and inefficient, but less deceptive. Wars become rarer, not because people are kinder, but because intentions cannot be hidden. However, conflicts that do occur are brutally direct. No propaganda, no justification, only honest violence. Language itself adapts. New social rules emerge. Fewer questions, more statements. Emotional disclaimers become common. People preface speech with warnings, not to soften truth, but to prepare others for it. Communication becomes cautious and defensive. Children grow up differently. They never learn to lie. They never experience social masks. They grow up emotionally exposed, but also unusually perceptive. Empathy develops in strange ways, less comforting, more precise. A generation emerges that understands truth deeply, but struggles with kindness. Over decades, humanity stabilizes. Not happier, not more peaceful, just more naked. Civilization does not collapse completely. It becomes quieter, slower, and emotionally colder. Trust exists, but it is heavy. Every relationship, every institution, every promise carries the full weight of truth without padding. The final realization arrives gradually. Lies were never just moral failures. They were psychological tools. They protected fragile minds from reality's sharpest edges. Without them, humanity does not become enlightened. It becomes exposed. And survival now depends not on strength or intelligence, but on how much truth a human mind can endure without breaking.